then I like to throw in the weight of the morality. There are some moral obligations which are taller than the number of the people. The British should consider in those terms. There's a word like integrity, morality, all these things must be taken into account.
Since 1840s, the Indians have been making a lot of contribution to the prosperity of Hong Kong. And many of them are having the status of British subjects. So the British government, I think, have legal, constitutional, and moral obligation to this group of people. They must try their best to find some solution to help them so that they will not become stateless people after 1997.
No one knows for sure whether morality will decide the fate of minorities in Hong Kong, but maybe the race question in Great Britain will be the deciding factor. In Part 2, Focus will look at the politics of race relations and the nationality question in Hong Kong.
These are recent examples of racial conflict in Britain, and when Leonard Rayner thinks about the nationality question in Hong Kong, these events are maybe what he's referring to.
Let us assume that somebody breaks down crying, Maggie Thatcher starts to weep and wail, I can't imagine, but say she does, and says, okay, we will give them their right of abode. Now, you and I know that the wealthy of that group, the entrepreneurs, the people who can contribute something to the economy, are going to be wealthy enough to go to some place where the taxes are lower, the climate is better. And we're going to be left with the rest. And with respect, if you go to our inner cities today, we have more than enough of those. And we want to assimilate those, we want to help them, but don't add to the problem.
I think this thinking that if 6,000 Indians from Hong Kong go to UK, and this will make it worsen the racial situation, is totally unfounded. But how can 6,000 people can make any difference when they already have the millions of them living in UK?
Even though Cito says that Indians from Hong Kong would be just a fraction of the Indian population already in Britain, it's a political problem, and a bigger one.
They are in difficult situation now in terms of domestic sense. They have a lot of political problems, economic problems, and racial problems. So even if the government is trying its best to have special, to offer help to the Indian minority in Hong Kong, they could invite hostilities from their voters.
Getting votes, that seems to be the heart of the nationality question in Hong Kong. Leonard Rayner.
There are no votes whatsoever in doing anything good or bad for minorities in Hong Kong.
Despite the realities of British politics, Cito is relying on the fair play of British tradition.
We come from India, and our skin is not white. But I have a confidence that there are many others who don't look as some of them look, this racial question. And we are coming closer to the stage where they have to make up their mind and a decision. And somehow I'm confident the more fair-minded people in the British government will be reasonable and not hold prejudice on the basis of racism.
Another reason for Cito's optimism is the support he's getting in Britain.
During the last debate, which I attended myself in London in January this year, in House of Commons, amongst the 18 speakers, 14 spoke in the favor of granting nationality to the minorities. Only 4 had a different views. Whereas in the House of Lords, all the speakers, 100%, they came out supporting very strongly for granting of right of abode to the minorities. Now, this is a kind of prevailing feeling is there. In the final analysis, it is up to Mrs. Thatcher what she decides. We are hoping they will take into considerations the opinions which were expressed in both the House of Commons and House of Lords, as well as the representations made on our behalf by the LegCo. Because, frankly speaking, if they don't listen to the voice of Hong Kong, which is a unanimous voice, then what use having these institutions here if they don't want to listen to them?
For Cito, getting LegCo support in the Indian struggle for British nationality might be good for the morale, but Leonard Raynard has another view.
If you go round to any Birmingham, Bradford, Liverpool with a large Asian or immigrant people, and you say to them, Lydia Dunn said so-and-so, the answer is going to be, who is Lydia Dunn?
This is a watch factory in Kwun Tong. Gary Sharma is a salaried manager there. Workers like him who draw a paycheck for a living form a big part of the Indian community in Hong Kong. Ever since he came to Hong Kong at the age of 5, Sharma has never lived anywhere else.
I want to stay in Hong Kong because I lived all my life here. I schooled here, I was brought up here. My family's here, my parents are here. You know, almost all my family members are here. All my friends are here. And I fell in love in Hong Kong. You know, that's really important as well. And I'm married to a Chinese girl, and my son is born in Hong Kong. So you can see the connection. That is, Hong Kong is like my home. It is my home, actually.
Gary Sharma has definite views of the British. He even joined the militia.
They've been benefiting from Hong Kong. We have been contributing a lot to the economy as well. I mean, we being with them, I was in the Royal Hong Kong Regiment as a volunteer working for the British government. I worked for 2 years as a volunteer. At that time, I didn't ask them anything. I just volunteered it. In my spare time, I used to go for trainings and things like that, and for duties as well.
Sharma soldiered in the army on a volunteer basis. He didn't have to do it. And because Hong Kong is still part of Britain, he feels that the British must deal with problems of nationality. They can't simply volunteer or not.
We are totally abandoned. I mean, the Chinese, they are not willing to take responsibility. The British, they are not taking any responsibility.